Hi everyone, we're back here to talk about assignment 2. So hi Meredith.
Hi Rob.
And we're going to talk about the critical evaluation, which is, as I said, assignment 2 in written communication, due week 5, Friday of week 5. It's 500 words long and it's worth 20% of your mark. And basically what you're going to do in this assignment is write a 500 word critical evaluation of one of the readings in your set of readings that's available to you. You can choose one of 6 readings. For each of these readings, what we're going to ask you to do is evaluate the argument in the reading. And to do that, we've got a bit of a format to follow and 4 questions that you answer in order to create your evaluation. We call these critical reading questions, and if you go to the study guide in topic 2, you'll see a heading called critical reading, and it goes into some detail there. In fact, I think you wrote all this, Meredith, on what these questions mean, sort of unpacking the questions a little bit. So the first question that you answer in this is what is the question or issue that the author is attempting to answer. You might like to think of this in terms of a conversation that might be happening in public, either in the media or amongst academics. What is the issue, or what's the conversation that people are engaging in this area? And you can imagine that in relation to this issue, there could be a number of responses or a number of arguments made. And so the issue itself is something that is in a sense quite a neutral thing. You could argue one way or the other, and the way you argue is by making claims or arguments. And so that's the second question: what's the main claim, or what are the set of claims that the author makes in response to the question or the issue that they're writing about? The next question that you'd answer is, well, what sort of evidence do they offer to support those claims? And is it good evidence or not? And as you do as you answer those questions, you might think also that perhaps in this piece of writing there's some bias, or there's some things missed out, or that the author makes some assumptions along the way. And so the fourth question is about what assumptions has the author made as they've written their piece and made their argument and supported it with evidence. So if you answer those 4 questions in dot point form, in a way you've got the basis for your evaluation. Anything you'd like to add to that?
Just to chime in and build on what you're already saying. So those 4 questions become a tool that you can use to pull apart the article, which is an argument. And so at university you'll constantly be asked to analyse, to pull things into smaller elements so that you can then make judgments, and that's what you'll be doing here. Those 4 questions pull the article into its smaller elements of the argument, what the issue is, the claims, the evidence and assumptions. Once they're in those smaller elements, you can make judgments about the argument, and allows you to respond to the argument, to the conversation that's going on. And so it's really a routine that we use to read closely and read for argument.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, and the word critical in this process, we're calling it a critical reading process, isn't about being critical in that way of, we think of somebody being critical of something, negatively judging it or that type of thing. It's really about attending to what's being said and coming to a slow judgment on it by evaluating what's going on. And that's the evaluation that you're writing here. This critical evaluation is coming to a judgment slowly, and maybe initially suspending that initial feeling that you have about whether this is right or wrong, and actually just looking at what is being said. So that's what you're going to be doing here. There's some marking criteria for this assignment, as in all assignments, and you can see them there. We're going to basically be marking you on your answers to those questions. So that first marking criteria about using critical reading to develop an evaluation of the article is just about answering those questions. The next criterion is about how well structured your evaluation is, and this is about going through those questions in a systematic manner. How well does the structure of your 500 words support you going through those questions systematically? And then the next criterion is around quality of your presentation of the assignment. And there's a whole range of factors there. I won't go into that. You can read those. We have a suggested format for the critical evaluation that basically follows the 4 questions. What you could try to do here is take what you've learned from assignment 1 in terms of structuring a paragraph with that topic sentence and summarising sentence, and try to use that as well as you can in structuring this assignment, and so apply what you've learned there to this one as well. And I won't go into this in detail. Do you have anything to say about this?
Just that it's beautifully and logically set out. It follows those 4 questions, and Rob's even given you a sense of how big the paragraphs might be. Because it will be reasonably tight, the 500 words.
It is,
And so that's a lovely guide.
And I guess I've written it as a format because you may have another way of answering this, another structure, which is equally valid. This is sort of the following the 1, 2, 3, 4 version in terms of the questions, but there may be another way of doing that.
So planning your assignments is all about trying to manage the assignments so you submit them on time by the due date without a lot of stress, so you can organise yourself. And so it's about breaking the assignment up into its smaller elements and then completing them in a systematic way. And so first of all, you need to remind yourself of what the assignment's about, and Rob's just walked through all that, but normally look at the assessment details and the marking criteria to understand what's involved. And it's a brainstorming process where you really delve into it to understand what the assignment's about, and it's a good idea to jot down what you need to do in 1 sentence, so you've got that condensed for yourself. And then break it down into the smaller steps that you need to take to be able to complete this assignment, and list it out in bullet point. And so the steps might be quickly skimming through those 6 readings. And so you might just look at the heading and the introduction of those 6 readings to have a sense of which one do I like and resonates with me and I could study. But then it might be about, another task might be reading through the reading first and taking notes, and then coming back and reading in more detail and answering the questions, and so on. You break down the task into its smaller elements. It's everything you need to do to submit the assignment. And then, as Rob's noted, coming back to the marking criteria. So it's your guide or your compass all the way through the process, because it's the marking criteria that guides how your work is assessed. And so you always come back to the marking criteria to see, well, what do I need to do to make sure I'm meeting the marking criteria? And you might build in an extra step for editing this final version, for example, because I know a third of the marks are going towards presentation and writing and style. And then, of course, we learn by asking questions, and often it's about learning how to ask the questions we want to ask. And so always asking your tutor, talking about this in class is a great idea for planning your assignment and keeping on track. But talking about your assignment can help crystallise it.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Would you look for anything else?
I was just thinking that as you're saying that, in the marking criteria, you'll notice that there are no percentages given against, or weightings given against each of the marking criteria. And so in that situation, you can assume, and probably should assume, because it should be there otherwise, that these criteria are split in equal proportion. So there's 3 criteria there. That means 33% or a third of the mark is allocated to each one. So whereas you'll find in some assignments it'll say 25%, 25%, 50%, something like that. So so just remember that too as you're doing assignments. Basically, this assignment is going to be submitted in a different way to assignment 1. You're going to submit this online. If you go to the assignments link on MySCU for this unit, and you'll find a folder there for assignment 2. That's where you will find a whole lot of resources, including, I'm assuming, the resource that you're now listening to or watching, because you've been to the folder, and that's where this will be. And you'll also see in that folder there's an assignment to critical evaluation link that says submit your assignment here, or words to that effect. Just follow the prompts and eventually you'll have submitted your assignment. But I guess the basic thing is, first of all, to have created your assignment using your word processor, and one of the first steps in that would be to download the cover sheet that's available in the assignments folder, and use that as the basis of your assignment. So I'd start with it. I'd download that file. I'd rename it as, assignment 2, maybe with your surname, and rename the file in that way, and then start your assignment with that. Once you've completed it and you've edited it to the stage that you like, you've got everything you need to go and submit your assignment. So once you go online to the submitting area, you'll go and find your assignment on your computer or on your USB stick or however you've got it saved, and upload that file to the uni server, and that's where we then download it and mark it from there. We've got some resources for you. We've already mentioned that in the study guide in topic 2 there's a section on critical reading. Academic Skills Development has a quick guide on reading critically, so that's also available to you. The textbook by Grelier and Gurka has a section on reading techniques. And Reading 3.3 by Graff and Birkenstein is about reading for the conversation, how to think about what the context is for the things that you're reading. What is the conversation that's going on around the reading? And that sort of relates very nicely to that very first question here, but it also then helps you think about your evaluation generally once you've located where this reading fits into a whole conversation that's going on.
That's it.
That's it? Yep. Okay. So thanks for listening, watching, whatever you're doing, and all the best with this assignment. Lovely.